So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Welcome back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, January 1st. Hopefully everybody had a good day, had a good rest of their day yesterday, and having a good day so far today. It is, in fact, Friday, January 1st. Happy New Year to everyone. It is, in fact, 2021. It's very exciting. Obviously, 2021 is gone. 2021 is now here, which is very exciting, I'm sure, for many of you. Exciting on multiple levels, a sports level. There's going to be a lot of sports to come here in 2021. You got, obviously, the rest of the NFL season. NBA's just starting up. In about 3 months, you got the March Madness. The real first 3 to 4 months of 2021, if everything goes as planned, it seems like, it's going to be a packed couple months for sports. Like I kind of noted yesterday, it's exciting. It's obviously exciting to finally have another, a different year other than 2020. 2020 was obviously not the best, but 2021 hopefully has is a lot better than what 2020 was, and I think it will be, obviously, which is a good thing. We got a lot of sports to talk about. That's kind of it. We got a ton of sports to get to today. There's college football on. The semifinal games are today. I will definitely be watching those. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting. Alabama, Notre Dame at first. Then you got Clemson, Ohio State second. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm really excited. You got the Sugar Bowl. You got the Rose Bowl. You got a lot of good games on today. You got the big bowl games on today. You got a game at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That game's the Peach Bowl. Then you got the Citrus Bowl. You got the Rose Bowl. Then you got the then tomorrow you have the Fiesta Bowl. And then the Orange Bowl is also tomorrow, and that will pretty much finish the bowl season. And then obviously today you also got the Sugar Bowl, which is Clemson and Ohio State. Between them two, I'll do a special preview on them. It's a lot of sports, and then on top of that, we have all the NFL. Although, no NFL on yesterday. NFL games are all on Sundays. There's no Monday game either. There's no more Monday games left in the year, so we're just going to have Sunday games and Saturday games. When you get into the playoffs, you have a little bit of each. So it's going to be really exciting. I'm really excited to watch the playoffs. I'm very excited to watch this final week of the season. Hopefully the Jets pull out another win. Obviously we have nothing to play for, so you got to root for a win this week. I was rooting for a win last week knowing we lost on Trevor Lawrence, so root for a win again this week. It would be nice to finish off the season on a 3-game win streak, even though it was a terrible year. But after all, 3-13 is a whole lot better than 0-16. So at the end of the day, it's another exciting week of football, or exciting couple of days of football ahead of us. So these are the topics for today. We got the NFL game picks, Jets and Giants. I know I'm saying this on week 17, but I'm sure many of you know this already. We'll give you the game picks, give you why I pick each team, and I'll go a little bit more in depth with the Jets and the Giants, as that's kind of what I do. I talk a little bit more in depth about New York sports, so I'll give you Jets, Giants, and then the rest of the NFL. Tell you why I think these teams will win and all that good stuff. Fantasy football, fantasy basketball overview. Will lead you into the first weekend of 2021 knowing all you need to know about fantasy football. Fantasy basketball will give you the injury report, give you who you could start, who you should sit. Players you could probably look at, to add or bench or things like that. If you have an injury, who to replace, all that stuff. I know it's the final week of fantasy football. It's crazy. It really is. It's the final week of fantasy football. So, we got one more week of fantasy football, and then, you gotta, then you wait till next year. But luckily I have fantasy basketball, so fantasy's just starting up for me in fantasy basketball. And I'm also thinking about creating a fantasy hockey league, but I need to find more people for that. I noticed that there's not too many people out there that like hockey. A lot more people out there would much rather do an NBA fantasy basketball league. Less people would rather do hockey. That's just how it is. Hockey's a less popular sport. I really enjoy watching hockey. So I'm just trying to figure that out. But, fantasy football ends, but fantasy basketball is just starting up. Then to finish out the podcast, we got college basketball, college football, NBA, Nets, Knicks, and Kentucky. We'll give you all the stuff you need to know about Kentucky game. They play tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SEC Network against Mississippi State. First game of the season that's in the SEC Conference, so a big game for them. Even if we struggle, if we finish, with a winning record in the conference, it's not a bad way to go. So obviously hopefully we win that game. And like I said, college football I'm going to be pretty in-depth with. College basketball, NBA, I'm going to go pretty quick with. But I really want to get in-depth with these Ohio State games and Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama, Notre Dame. Those games are obviously on today. So that's going to be exciting. I mean, I'm looking forward. I've been looking forward to these games for a very long time, really since they got out there that these were going to be the two games. I was really exciting. I'm excited to watch both games. I mean, one part of me thinks that the Notre Dame-Alabama game is probably going to be a blowout. And then there's another part of me that thinks both games are going to be a blowout. I'm hoping that's not the case. I personally think Alabama, I'm not trying to spoil myself, but spoil what I'm about. I don't want to spoil my pick, but I personally think that Notre Dame-Alabama's game is going to probably be a pretty big margin. And I think the Clemson-Ohio State game, too, will probably be a pretty big margin as well. So hopefully that's not the case because I love watching some good games. But, hopefully, hopefully it just goes through smoothly. And by the way, if you're wondering who I'm rooting for Clemson the rest of the way to win the championship. I usually jump on Clemson. If you had to pick a team, like a playoff team, like in NFL, I always pick a team, in Super Bowl to root for. So this is almost the same thing. I'm going to root for Clemson to win it all. So that's my team. So anyway, so with all that, now that Miami's obviously has no shot. So so with all that being said, by the way, I'm not a permanent Clemson fan. I mean, I'll root for Clemson. So I'm gonna hopefully Clemson wins and all that good stuff. So anyway, so with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So NFL game picks. So this is the Week 17 game picks. I feel like I haven't talked about, the game picks in a very long time. You would think that yesterday I would have a game pick. I'd be talking about the games on Tuesday because of the Monday game, but that was not I was talking about Tuesday. But I felt like I've had a little bit of a lull here. I haven't even talked much fantasy football either. So I'm... I did that on Tuesday, and I never really got back to it, so I'll give you all that today. So Week 17 NFL game picks. This is the final week of game picks this year. This week's a little bit of an interesting week, just because of the fact that you have some teams benching starters, and like for example, there's a couple games, there's a couple teams today that I'll be going against, and you'll be surprised about it because they're going to be benching their starters. I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm going to say it again today. Week 17 is usually the harder week for picks because you could look at a team, you could be like, oh, this team's a Super Bowl contender. But then you look at a team that's not so good and they're playing them, but you're like, okay, this team's benching all their starters, so I can't pick them. So that's kind of what I ran into today. So you might see me pick against some really good teams. But once again, you got to realize it's also because of the fact that some of these teams are benching their starters, and their starters are some key players. For example, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to bench Patrick Mahomes. They're going to bench Tyreek Hill. They're going to bench Travis Kelce. So they're going to bench a lot of their starters. They're going to have Chad Henne in at quarterback. I don't think he's going to do nearly as much damage as Patrick Mahomes. So, by the way, before I get into the game picks, I enter this week, the final week of the season, I enter it with a 167-84 record. I went 10-6 last week, which is pretty good, and I'm 167-84 overall. So, my goal is, if I get 13 wins, would be 180. I mean, obviously, that would be the goal, I guess. I don't think I'm going 16-0. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go 16-0. I mean, I guess that's so. I mean, I guess 16-0, but I don't know. 13-3 would get me to 180. I'm going to go around the range. I'm probably going to get to 177, 178, probably like a 10-11 win week again. That's probably what I'm aiming towards. So, we're going to be a little short from 180, but, at least we hit to 170s and stuff. I would imagine I'm going to get to 170. I would really have to mess up my picks. I would have to get 2 picks right. 3 would get me to 170. I would have to get 2 picks right to not get there. So, I would imagine I'm getting to 170. Question is 180, is that in reach? We'll see. I mean, it's in reach. It's mathematically still possible, but we're going to need it. I've only gotten one 13-3 week this year, and that came in week 2. I have not had another 13-3 week. I would need one of those weeks this week, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to probably go towards that. I'm going to go finish 177, 178, and, whatever, 80-something. So that's probably 170. So that's probably where I'll finish, which is pretty good. And then, obviously, I'll get into playoffs. I'm going to still count the playoffs to my overall, but then I'll have a separate playoff record as well. Playoff record, then I'll do my overall for the season. So, so it should be... It should be pretty good. I'm excited. So, so that's what I got for the game picks heading into this week. By the way, like you already know, I've been doing this for 17 weeks now. Don't need to go through it again, but I will anyway. Jets, Patriots, and the Cowboys, Giants. I'll do a special preview on that. Obviously, given that those two teams are New York, I will give you a special preview on those two teams, give you a little bit more of an in-depth numbers look, and tell you why I think each team will win. So, with all that being said, this is Week 17 NFL game picks. So here we go. First game up was the Giants and Cowboys. I'm going to wait to do that. Cowboys-Giants, I'll wait to do that. So technically the really first game up is the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Dolphins coming to this game 10-5. Bills coming to this game 12-3. Over-under is 42.5 for this game. Bills are 3.5-point favorites. The Dolphins obviously Fitzpatrick. I want to say Fitzmagic, but Fitzpatrick obviously tested positive for COVID, so he will not be playing. He tested positive with the virus, so he will not be playing. He won't even be active, which means it all relies on the hands of Tua. Tua obviously has been known for getting benched these past couple of weeks in big moments of the game. They've been bringing in Fitz. He's gotten the job done in many moments of the game. And, obviously, Tua has not played as well as many Dolphins fans wanted him to. I don't think he's played that well as many Dolphins fans wanted him to. But I also don't think, he's played that bad either. I think he's played decent. I mean, I don't think he's not. A lot of people thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. I thought Burrow was, and I'm not just saying that. At the moment, Herbert's the best quarterback that has been drafted this season. And I think we can all agree on that. Herbert's been taking the league by storm, has been unbelievable, broke the touchdown record. He's just unbelievable. So I think the best quarterback that was taken out of draft was Justin Herbert at this very moment. Now, could that very well change when Joe Burrow comes back? Yes, it very well could. But at this very moment, I think Justin Herbert was the best. Going into the draft, I thought Burrow was. I mean, what I saw in college, throwing 50-plus or 60 touchdowns, whatever. What I saw in college against some good teams, too. I saw a guy that was NFL ready. But Tua, obviously, I know a lot of people had a lot of hype going into him this season. Tua, he's going to be great. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. I kind of bought in. I mean, I thought he was going to be a good quarterback, but he has not lived up to the expectations yet. And part of that reason could be because he's kind of been, he's been in games and he's out of games, in games, out of games. And I wonder if you just give him a full game, what would happen? We've seen flashes of amazing. We've also seen flashes of why in the world did they draft this guy? Hopefully that's not a common theme, because times when quarterbacks, that's a common theme. That's not good. But with Tua only starting, I don't know if I could trust this Bengals team. I understand the Bills might only play Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Beasley and guys like that, only like half the game, but a half is more than enough. If they get on 2-score, 3-score lead by the end of the half, which is very well possible, I would give the Bills to win. It's going to make it interesting. I don't know if the Dolphins make the playoffs. I don't think they will. They need to win this game in order to get into the playoffs. I would go ahead and say that the Bills win this game. What I've seen out of the Bills this season is a playoff team. Is playoff team written all over them. I've seen Josh Allen, that could very well is very well in the MVP conversation. I think he's got to be one of the top 5 finalists. He's had an excellent year. This Bills team's had an excellent year. Got one of the best receivers in the NFL. I give the Bills the win here, 31-24. I think it's pretty close. I think Dolphins keep it close, but Bills pull away late. Dolphins win, or Bills win 31-24. That would lead me to taking the over-under 42.5, and I think the Bills cover the 3.5. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons coming in this game 4-11. Buccaneers coming in this game 10-5. Over-under is 50. Buccaneers are 7-point favorites. This one's a pretty easy one. I get it. The Falcons pushed close against the Chiefs the other day. I get it. They almost beat them last week. I get it. I totally understand. I know people are going to, sit here and say this, and this. But, I'm still not a huge believer in this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. I still don't think they're going to go very far in the playoffs. I mean, they will probably play the team that comes out of the NFC East, so I'd imagine they probably win that game. But other than that, I don't know if they go very far in the playoffs. I would go ahead and sit here and tell you that they're going to win this game pretty easily. Even if the Falcons have a lead, they can't seem to hold on to that lead, or if they're trying to come back, they can't even seem to come back the right way. This Falcons team, man, they got to do a thorough looking at this offseason. You got to take, what players are we going to want, what players don't we want. They're going to have to take a thorough looking at, right? Do we want Julio Jones anymore? Do we want Matt Ryan anymore? What we're going to do? Are we still going to give this money to Todd Gurley that we gave him? What are we going to do? What are we going to do with the head coaching spot, right? There's a lot of questions that the Atlanta Falcons have to answer in this offseason, and it starts after this game on Monday, which is the coaching search. On Monday, you'll start the coaching search. You'll start looking for it, and I don't want to sit here and say that this will be Julio Jones and Matt Ryan's final games in Falcons uniforms, but it could very well shape out to be that way. There's been many rumors that they're going to try to trade Julio. There's been many rumors that Matt Ryan either is going to retire or he's going to go to another team. There's a lot of speculations around this team. This is actually going to be a very interesting team to watch throughout the offseason. And it starts after this game on Sunday. I do give the Buccaneers the win. I think they win big. 35-17, Buccaneers win. I'm not too sure if they're going to keep Brady or not, but either way, I give them the win. 35-17, that would put me towards the over-under 50. And I think the Buccaneers cover. Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Ravens coming in this game 10-5. Bengals coming in this game 4-10-1. Over/under is 43.5. Bengals are 13.5 favorites. Obviously the Ravens coming in this game pretty hot. They've won their past couple of games. They just got off done, smoking the Giants, really damaging them. But at the same time, you're looking at this Bengals team. This is another Bengals team that's getting some really surprising wins. They beat the Steelers, which I'm sure many of you did not expect. They beat the Steelers, and then they won again last week. And it's a Bengals team that's looking pretty good. This is a team that, you wonder if they would have played like, and then they beat a Texans team last week where, they're a pretty good team as well. So, you obviously look at this Bengals team. They're winning a lot. They're starting to get some games here towards the end of the year. But I would, in terms of meaningful game here, I would give the Ravens the win. I understand a lot of people might take the Bengals and might say, that the Bengals keep this game close. I do think the Bengals might keep this game close just because I've loved the way their defense and their offense has been playing. Collectively as a team, they've been playing unreal football. So I like the way they've been keeping it close. Or winning these games, but I think the Ravens win. I don't know if there was so much cover, but I do think they win. I think they win 31-21. I'm not going to say I don't think they cover, but they do win 31-21, and that would lead me to take the over on the over-under of 43.5, and the Ravens win. No cover, though. Bengals, I've loved the way they've played. No cover. Bengals do lose, but I give the Ravens the win. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers coming in at 12-3, and the Cleveland Browns coming in at 10-5. Steelers, the over/under is 42, and the Browns coming in this game 9.5-point favorites. Okay, I would have picked the Browns either way if Ben Roethlisberger was playing. I would have picked the Browns and with Mason Rudolph playing. Okay, the Browns are going to win this game. I don't have to go into too much detail here. Mason Rudolph's playing, backup quarterback, possibly some backup receivers. Browns are going to win this game. Browns, despite the loss to the New York Jets last week, the Browns will probably still find a way to get into the playoffs. They're not going to win the AFC North, but they'll find a way to get into the playoffs, and I'm sure for Browns fans, that's good enough. Browns win this game. With Big Ben, I would have gave the Browns the win. Without Big Ben, I definitely don't give the Browns the win because Mason Rudolph is not a good quarterback. We saw it last season, and we're going to see it again this year. Not a good quarterback. Not what anyone expected. Browns wallop the Steelers 31-10. Take the under on the over-under of 42. Browns cover easily. They wallop the Steelers. Browns win. Next up, we got the Vikings and the Lions. Vikings coming in this game 6-9. Lions coming in this game 5-10. Vikings are 6.5-point favorites. The over/under is 53.5. You'll run into some of these meaningless games. Like some of these games that mean absolutely nothing for both teams. For example, the Vikings-Lions. Like, what does this game mean other than ending the year on a high note? For the Raiders-Broncos, that game means absolutely nothing. Raiders done. Broncos done. Jets-Patriots means absolutely nothing. Titans Seahawks actually has some implications. Washington Eagles very implications. But back to the game. But what I'm saying is there's a couple of games on this list. That's the one problem with Week 17. Sometimes you just see these meaningless games. Week 16, you'll see a lot of times where you could just see the backups in, especially if the game means absolutely nothing. Like, for example, the Chiefs, if they win or lose, they locked up the number 1 seed. They're getting home field advantage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. So that's why they're going to. And they're playing a game. It's not like they're playing a team either who's, I'm sure if they were playing a team who was trying to make a playoff push, there's maybe a possibility of them starting their starters. But either way, I think this is one of those meaningless games. But back to the game. Vikings dominate this game 6-9. I mean, like I said, the Vikings. They're another team. They got a lot of questions heading into this offseason. They're almost like the Falcons. They're almost like the Jets. What are you going to keep Zimmer as your head coach? What are you going to do? You can keep him as your head coach. Are you going to, move on from him? What's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? What's going to happen with, what's going to happen with, Thielen? What's going to happen with Rudolph? I mean, what are you going to do with this team? It's another team, too. Right after this game, there's going to be a lot of questions to ask. What's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? This is a guy they brought in to win games, to win big games, and he's not. He's won one Monday Night Football game. He has barely been able to win any football game. They brought him in here to win games, and he has not done that. This is a big questioning offseason, too, for the Vikings. What are you going to do with Kirk Cousins? Dalvin Cook, I would imagine he's locked there. But Thielen, too. You could say almost he's had a little bit of a down year. There's a lot of questions asked for this team. I would definitely think the coach. I think they definitely would say the coach is on the hot seat. I would definitely go ahead and say that. But, that's also just my opinion. And as for the Detroit Lions as well, they're another team. What's going to happen with Stafford? Are you going to go towards a quarterback? Or are you going to keep Stafford? What are you going to do with the coach? Or what are you going to, there's a lot of questions, too, to be asked with this team as well. I give the Vikings the win. I like their receiving core. Other than, just Kirk Cousins has struggled. But, if you had to pick some point of this team that you like, you love Dalvin Cook. That's the thing with this team. They got talent. Thielen, Jefferson, and Cook, they've got talent on offense. Just how in the world can they not win games? That's the problem. I do give the Vikings the win here. I think it's going to be, relatively lower scoring. 24-17 Vikings win. I think they cover. 24-17. I take the under on the over-under of... Take the under on the over-under of 53.5, and I think the Vikings cover. They win. It's going to be relatively lower scoring, but I think they win. Next up, we got the Arizona. These are the 4 o'clock games. We got a ton of 4 o'clock games. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4 o'clock games. So you got a ton of those games, and then you also got a ton of 1 o'clock games. So let's start off here. These are the 4 o'clock games starting off. We got the Cardinals and the Rams. Cardinals coming in this game 8-7. Rams coming in this game 9-6. Cardinals are 3.5 favorites. The over/under is 40.5. If Jared Goff was playing, if this Rams team was healthy, I would sit here and say the Rams have a shot, but the Rams have no shot. Especially if Kyler Murray plays, the Rams have no shot. They don't have Jared Goff. They're missing their quarterback. Walford, I think, is starting or something like that. Jared Walford, I think, something like that, is starting. He's out of the University of Wofford. Wofford, I don't know what it is, but, he's got the backup or third string starting. Goff is out. He had thumb surgery. He should be ready for if they make the playoffs. But I'll tell you what. I think this is one of these games for the Cardinals, and it stinks to be a Bears fan because you got to play the Packers, and the Cardinals play the banged-up Rams team. But I'll tell you what, if I was the Rams, I would just go into this game, pound it. They're going to rely on the run game a ton. They're going to rely on Cam Akers. They're going to rely on, guys like that. They're going to rely on the run game a ton. That's it. They're going to rely on it. They're going to rely on it. They're going to rely on it. Period. They're going to rely on the run game. So the Cardinals defense has got to be ready in the run game. And to be honest, this is even for fantasy. Receivers this week for the Rams, useless. I wouldn't even think about putting one of them in. So I think the Cardinals smoke them. I do. The Cardinals have struggled. Don't get me wrong. They have struggled. I definitely thought this would be a team that would have had their playoff spot clinched by week 17. They've struggled. Don't get me wrong. And they might finish 8-8. There's a possibility. They got to win this game, though. This is a must-win game for the Cardinals. If the Cardinals lose, no matter what happens with the Bears-Packers game, the Cardinals are done. Cardinals ain't making the playoffs. No matter what happens, Cardinals need to win this game. If Cardinals win and the Bears win, Bears are in. So, because Bears have the tiebreaker. If Cardinals lose and Bears lose, Bears are in. If Bears win and Cardinals lose, obviously Bears are win. But that's the thing. They just need the Bears to lose. If the Bears win, Cardinals are done. Forget about it. They're done. It's over for them. So, the Cardinals, though, man, they gotta make sure they focus on this game. They do. They can't be looking ahead. Because I feel like, in a way, they were looking ahead last week. They thought they had an easy one against the Niners. They didn't. They looked ahead. Problems occurred. I give the Cardinals the win here. I think they beat them up pretty good. And with no quarterback, with no Jared Goff. With Jared Goff, they struggle. Without him, I could just imagine. Cardinals win. This is if the Rams want to win this game, they got to pound the ball and they got to play good defense because your offense is not going to produce. Cardinals win this game big time, 31-10. Take the over on the over-under 40.5, and I think the Cardinals cover very easily. I don't know why the spread's still at 3.5. I would imagine it's big time. With Goff not starting, it's gonna be a bad day for Rams. Now, if Kyler at the moment Kyler Murray is expected to start, but if he doesn't start because he had a knee injury, if he doesn't start, then I don't know about that. Then maybe you got to look at it as okay, whoever plays the better defense. Next up, we got the Chargers and the Chiefs. Chargers coming in this game 6-9. Chiefs coming in this game 14-1. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. The over/under is 44 for this game. I talked earlier on in the podcast. Don't call me crazy for picking against the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are playing their backups. I said early on in the podcast that the Chiefs are going to play their backups. I said that they're going to play their backups. I said that they're not going to be playing their starters. And that is why I'm picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, if they played Mahomes, if they played Hill, if they played Kelsey, if they played Elair, if they played guys like that, sure, I would have them demolishing the Chargers. But that is not the case. The Chiefs are not playing their starters. They are playing their backups, Chad Henne, some other random guys. No clue who they are. They're playing their backups so their starters can rest for the playoff game. I give the Chargers the win. I know the majority of people are probably still taking the Chiefs just because of the name, but if you really look at who's playing, it's Chad Henne at quarterback, people. It's not Patrick Mahomes. It's Chad Henne at quarterback. The Chiefs are not going to win this game. The Chargers will. And if this was against a team like the Jets, I would go ahead and say, okay, the Chiefs probably will still win. But the Chargers, too, they're not that bad of a team. I think the Chargers very well finish 7-9. After all, the Chargers don't have a terrible season. And I think the Chargers win. And what better way going off on beating a team with the Chiefs? No matter if they're playing their backups or not, you beat the Chiefs. I think the Chargers win this game. I like Herbert. I like their run game. I like their receiving game. I know Keenan Allen's out, but still, you got Hunter Henry, who heated up last week. You have Mike Williams, who's back healthy. Herbert should be okay. I give the Chargers a win. I think it's relatively lower scoring, though. 21-17 Chargers win. I think it's close. I think they cover, and I take the under on the over-under of 44. Chargers win, by the way. I know I'm picking against the Chiefs, but it's their backups. It's their backups. You could pick for the Chiefs. I would venture to say that that's not going to be correct. It's their backups that are playing, people. Next up, we got the Jaguars and the Colts. Jaguars coming in this game 1-14. Colts coming in this game 10-5. Jaguars are the over/under is 49.5. Colts are 14-point favorites. I don't need to go really in depth in this one. This one's one of the easier picks of the day. Colts win this one. Okay, the Jaguars stink. They've gotten nothing done. James Robinson's out. I would imagine Glennon's starting again. I mean, I don't even know really where this team's going. I mean, it's another team. I know I've been saying this a lot, but week 17, you kind of got to look forward to their offseason. It's another team, too. You got to look at, possibilities of, this is another team, too. You got to look at, you got to look at, what are you going to do with the quarterback, right? Trevor Lawrence is your ideal. I would go ahead and take Trevor Lawrence. But then you also got some other things. What are you going to do with, what are you going to do with your, backups? What are you going to do with Minshew? Are you going to try to trade him? What can you get value? What are you going to do? This is another team. Coaching. What are you going to do with the coach, right? A lot of questions to be asked here for the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. I give the Colts the win. I know many people are saying, well, if the Colts lost to the Jaguars, no. Big X, stop that. Colts win 35-7. They dominate. I take the under on the over-under of 49.5, and the Colts cover easily. Colts, too. If the Colts weren't playing for the playoff game, they clinched, and they were sitting some of their starters, I would still pick the Colts, but I would say there's a chance But with them playing for a playoff game, you know they're going to go full on, head down, and just go full on to this game. So, that's kind of it. Next up, we got the Packers and the Bears. This is probably one of the biggest games of the week. Packers coming in this game 12-3. Bears coming in this game 8-7. Packers are 5-point favorites. Bears are obviously 5-point underdogs. The over-under is set at 50.5 for this game. We've obviously seen Trubisky. He's been slinging it. He's been throwing the ball downfield. He's been hitting Allen Robinson, hitting Jimmy Graham, getting to Cole Kmet, getting some of the other guys, giving to David Montgomery, Cordell Patterson. Every guy in this offense has stepped up in a big way. It's a Bears team that looks like a serious playoff team. But I know I just hyped up them. But take a couple steps backwards, Bears fans. You're playing the Green Bay Packers, who at the moment I think are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. You got Aaron Jones, and you might have even just found a hidden talent in A.J. Dillon last week. Okay, this is a team with Jair Alexander. I mean, this is a team with a defense that has been coming up big. A team with an offense where Rodgers is almost throwing 4 touchdowns a game. Okay, I understand, Bears fans. I get it. I totally get it. You're happy. You're excited. You have a shot at the playoffs. And if you would have told me Week 17 that the Bears, couple weeks ago where I was talking about how bad they were, if you would have told me the Bears in Week 17 would have been playing for a playoff game, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have lost that bet. I tell you for sure I would have lost that bet. So I'm going to sit here and tell you this. The Packers will win this game, I think. I think the Packers will win. But the Bears, I don't think the Bears will make the playoffs because I think the Cardinals win. And if the Cardinals win, Bears lose, Cardinals win. Technically, all the Bears have to do is just take care of business. If the Bears win this game, no matter what happens with the Cardinals, no matter if the Cardinals lose, tie, or win, the Bears are in. The tiebreaker goes to the Bears. So, that's the tough part. You know, this is one of these things where it's also just unlucky. You know, the Cardinals get a banged-up Rams team, and the Bears get a Super Bowl contender Packers team. And that's still playing for the 1 seed. So, it's not like they're going to bench their starters either. And it's a rivalry, too. You know, rivalry games are different, too. You know, the Packers-Bears are one of the biggest rivalries in NFL, one of the bigger rivalries in all in sports. These are 2 luscious franchises. You obviously have, Vince Lombardi and Mike Ditka, and the history of these 2 teams go back, way back. And that's the thing. Obviously, you got 2 very good teams. You got 2 very good, luscious franchises, but that's another thing. Sometimes teams always play a little harder in this game. But I give the Packers a win. I just think their offense is slightly better. I get it. Trubisky's been playing so good. But I was talking to people. There's always that time for Trubisky to have one of those Trubisky games, and it's got to be somewhere soon. But I give the Packers the win. I think it's close, though. 31-24. I think it's close. 31-24 Packers win. I think it's very close, but they win close. And I take the over-under of 50.5. And I think the Packers cover the 5, and they win. Bears just need to hope for some Rams magic to be brewing up there in Arizona. Or actually, the Rams are home for that game. So, I think Packers win. Next up, we got the Raiders and the Broncos. Raiders coming in this game 7-8. Broncos coming in this game 5-10. Raiders are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 51 for this game. It's another 4 o'clock game. It's another frustrating season for the Raiders. They get to that point where, they have a playoff spot. They're right there. They're there. Like, they're literally there. And then it just goes all out the window. It just goes completely out the window. They lose their next couple games. They fall out of playoff contention. They lose one of their games in a terrible fashion. Obviously, the Fitzpatrick play, threw the ball deep downfield. It lost them the game. Obviously, that really, really hurt them. But like I said with this Raiders team, this is a team that really just down the stretch does not play well. And as for the Broncos, this is actually a pretty big game for possibly what way the Broncos could go with Drew Lock. This is Drew Lock's 2nd season. I mean, if he has a good game, end the season strong. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Broncos look, and I'm not even saying 1st round, but if the Broncos look to take a quarterback 2nd or 3rd round. Maybe 3rd round. 2nd round is pretty early. 2nd round usually means you're going to be committing on him. Meaning like around the corner, like almost like the Eagles. They picked Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. They had a feeling that they were going to bench Carson Wentz that season. I don't know if the Broncos quite have that feeling, but it's a big week for Drew Lock. I think, I've believed heavily in Drew Lock. I've said it multiple times on this podcast. I think he could have been very great. I said this could be a guy down the road we're talking about as a superstar. What I saw in college out of this guy was everything, everything but an NFL. He was everything, but he just was not in the NFL yet. He got drafted. I thought he could have very well got drafted in the first round. I love what I saw of him in his first couple of games. And then all of a sudden, he's just had some questionable starts. And it's another guy, too. He's inconsistent a little bit. He's one of these starts where he had one of those games where he threw 4 touchdowns, had one of the highest QBRs in Broncos history in a game, only behind Elway and Manning, and Peyton Manning, obviously 2 all-time greats with the Broncos team, 2 all-time greats in the entire NFL. And then and then you have a couple games where you're like, oh, there he is. Throws a game-losing interception against the Chiefs. Throws a bad throw to Judy, makes a bad throw across the middle. Like he shows moments, and then he also shows, I know I say this a ton because I'm watching it every week with Darnold. He shows moments of, oh my gosh, this guy is insane, and he shows moments of why in the world did we draft this guy and waste our 3rd pick with it? Like, why, That's the thing, inconsistency, and he's got to get better with that. I think they give him one more year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go after a quarterback, even in free agency. It doesn't have to be Dak Prescott. It could be like an older player, like a little bit of an older player, maybe not as big as a name. Bring him in, and if you almost do a Wentz. If Locke struggles the first 3 to 4 weeks, and you're sitting there 1-3, 1-4, and Locke struggling, bring in the other guy, right? Something like that. I would give Locke one more time. Raiders, I do think win this game though. Broncos they're beat up. They're another team like the Niners. They just have had a lot of problems with COVID. Have had a lot of injuries, and that's another thing too you could say about Drew Lock. He lost to one of his best. He lost his best receiver, Cortland Sutton, with a torn ACL. So, but anyway, I give the Raiders the win. 24-7, 24-21. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think they cover 24-21. I think they cover the 3. 24-21. Let's see. So I take the under on the over-under of 51, and I think the Raiders cover. Next up, we got the Saints coming in at 11 and 4, and the Panthers coming in at 5 and 10. Saints coming in this game 6.5 point favorites. The over/under is 47.5 for this game. This is an easy game. I'm going to be kind of quick with this one. Okay, the Panthers this season, they got off to that hot start. Teddy Bridgewater looked good. This offense looked good. Defense looked good. And all of a sudden, this was another team, too. Inconsistency hurt them. There's times where they look amazing, and there's times where they look terrible. Matt Rule makes decisions where, oh, yes, this guy's a great coach, and he makes decisions on why in the world did we get this guy as a coach, right? This is another team that's been inconsistent. They win games, they lose games, they demolish a team, then they get demolished, right? Inconsistencies hurt the Panthers as well. They haven't been able to get on a consistent win streak this entire year. If you look at it, they haven't really been able to. I mean, they win, then they lose. They win 3 times, well, then they lose 4 times, right? Or 5 times, right? Then they win, okay, we lost. Let's lose 2 more times, then win, right? They've never been able to get on like a consistent win streak where they're winning games and they're playing well. They haven't been able to really get on that, which obviously stinks. But for the Saints, this is another game too. They still have a chance at the 1 seed in the NFC. If Packers can't take care of business, you can forget about it though. But if the Packers lose, it opens up the door. It still takes a lot though. But either way, I think the Saints win. I think the Saints win this game. Drew Brees has been struggling a little bit, so I think it's a little low scoring. I think they heavily rely on Alvin Kamara again after a 6-touchdown game. I give them the win, 31-17. I give them the win. I take the over on the over-under 47.5, and I think the Saints cover pretty easily. Next up, we got the Seahawks and the 49ers. Seahawks coming in this game 11 and 4. They're 6.5 point favorites. 49ers coming in this game 6 and 9. The over/under is 46. The Seahawks is another team too. The door is still open to win the NFC. Door is still open to have the number 1 seed. They're still playing for something. They're still going to be playing for their starters. I understand the Niners come off with that big week, and it's what stinks about the Niners. They're getting a little healthier, but they're getting healthy at the wrong time. You're starting to get some of your players back. You got George Kittle back last week. Probably one of the best tight ends in the league, if not the best tight end in the league. Maybe only behind Travis Kelce. You got him back last week. He had a good week in fantasy. He had 92 yards, right? He had a good week there. This is just one of these things for the Niners is, can you just finish the year on a high note? What can you do? One of the big questions I would say going into the offseason for the Niners is what are you going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo? Are you going to draft a quarterback? Are you going to keep him? Are you going to, what are you going to do? I mean, there's a lot of questions. And then also, what are you going to do with the defense? There's a lot of rumors that Robert Saleh, he's been in the coaching room for the Jets, that he might get a coaching job. He's their defensive coordinator. He's done an excellent job with them. There's rumors that he could possibly go to get a coaching job. So I would say that Garoppolo's future is unknown, really, with the Niners. I would venture to say that he returns just because they gave him a pretty big contract. And also, you got to realize, he's been injured this year. He's been working with injuries all year. Players have been injured around him. You give him a stable year where a lot of the players are healthy, then I would say it's good. But yeah, I think the Seahawks win this game pretty easily. 35-21, or 35-24, I think they win. And I take the over-under of 46, and I think the Seahawks cover. Next up, we got the Titans and the Texans. Titans come in this game 7.5. Texans come in this game, Titans come in this game 10-5. Texans come in 4-11. Titans are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is 56. I understand the Titans had a tough loss last week against the Packers. That's not surprising. A lot of people predicted the Packers to win. I did anyway. I know there's been a lot of people that have been talking about, this Titans team might not be playing. Might not make the playoffs. What's going to happen with the Texans, right? I think they take care of business. They took care of business early on. I mean, the Texans made it close. They won in overtime. The Titans did. But I think the Titans win again today. On Sunday. I think they win again. I think the Titans have another good game. I think they play well. And I think just overall they have a good team performance. I would go ahead and say that they have another good team performance. And they just go out there and play hard. And as for the Texans, they're playing for pride at this point. Finish the year avoiding that 4-12, which is pretty ugly. But they could also play spoilers. Nothing better than possibly making your division opponent miss the playoffs. That would be great. But Titans, I think, win, and they take care of business. 31-14. They win. Take the under on the over-under 56, and I think they cover the 7.5. Now for the big game this weekend. Washington comes in 6-9. Eagles coming in 4-10-1. Washington's 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 44. This game's on Sunday Night Football to cap off Week 17 of the NFL season. So I want to say something first. Let me give you the scenarios of how the Cowboys, Giants, or Washington can win the division. So Washington can win the division with a win. They win, they're in. That's literally it. That is literally it. If Washington loses, they're not going to win a division. So Cowboys and Giants fans, whoever comes out of that whoever comes out of that game, they're rooting for the Eagles. So let's just go ahead and say this. So if Washington wins, they're into the division. No matter if the Cowboys or Giants game, no matter what happens in that Cowboys or Giants game, if Washington wins this Sunday night game, they are in. If they lose this Sunday, the Eagles are already eliminated, by the way. If they lose this game on Sunday night, the winner of that Cowboys-Giants game will be the division winner. So if the Cowboys win, Cowboys would win a division. If the Giants win, the Giants would win a division. All Washington has to do is take care of business on Sunday night. That's all they have to do. If they lose, I guess if there's a tie, then they would be in. I guess the only way there's another option is if they lose, they would have to hope that the Cowboys Giants tied, which would be, chances of that are so slim. But we'll know by Sunday night who's the division winner. That's what stinks. If the Cowboys win, their fans and their players have got to wait till the Washington game's over. If the Giants win, their fans and players have got to wait. It's not like all the games are happening at once. It's the thing. That's why they put this game on prime time, because of how pivotal it is. This game will decide the division winner. That Cowboys-Giants game very well could, but this will be the deciding factor. So, like I said, if Washington, I know it might sound simple, but they're also playing with a backup quarterback. If Washington takes care of business, they'll win. No matter if the Giants and Cowboys tied, whatever happens in that game, if the Washington wins, they are in, no matter what happens. If Washington loses, then whoever the winner of that Cowboys-Giants game is in. With that being said, I give Washington the win. Now, there's a very possibility that they're going to be without Alex Smith, although he did take first-team reps yesterday. There's a very possibility they're going to be without Alex Smith, be without their star running back in Antonio Gibson. There's a good possibility of that. I still believe in this Washington team. I think without Haskins, they could be a lot better. I think part of the reason they've been losing some of these games is because Haskins has been starting. He's made some terrible throws. So I give Washington a win. I think they win. let's say it's going to be lower scoring. 21-17, they win. And I take the under and the over-under of 44, and I think they cover the 2.5. Washington wins, and they win a division. I've predicted all along. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to lose when I've been predicting them to win a division after that Cowboys game. So, I give Washington a win. Now we got to move on to the Jets games. Special preview there. So here we go. So I'll tell you who the winners were and all that good stuff after I do the Jets and Patriots and then the Cowboys Giants. Like I said, I predicted the Washington to win. I'm confident that they are gonna win. I think Haskins, like I just said before, was one of their biggest problems. But to be honest with you, I can't now sit here and tell you on week 17, pull back and say, oh no, Washington's gonna lose and they're not gonna win the division. So I've stood by it all along that the Washington will win the division. After that Cowboys game, I said Washington's gonna win a division. And I cannot now all of a sudden on week 16 switch that and go ahead and say they're not going to win a division. I'm going to still stand by it. And if Washington loses, I think Cowboys will win a division. That's personally my opinion. But here we go. Jets-Patriots game. Jets coming in this game 2-13. Patriots coming in this game 6-9. Patriots are 3-point favorites. Jets are obviously 3-point underdogs. And the over-under is 40 for this game. This game's on at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS. So the Jets' season finale is on Sunday. It obviously stinks. That's got to be their season finale. Would have much rather it, being a playoff game. But that's not the case, obviously, this year. Jets are obviously away for this game. Jets coming in this game, points per game, they're 32nd. Patriots are 28th. Points per game allowed, Jets are 27th. Patriots are 11th. Total yards per game, Jets are 32nd. Patriots are 29th. Pass yards per game, Jets are 32nd. Patriots are 30th. Rush yards per game, Jets are 23rd. Patriots are 5th. Yards per game allowed, Jets are 25th. Patriots are 15th. So, what this means is you could see by the numbers I just read, this is going to be an incredibly low-scoring game, I would imagine. Both defenses are pretty good. The Patriots have no passing game. I mean, we saw last week Cam Newton went 5 for 10 for 34 yards. And the Patriots have somewhat of a run game. We obviously saw they're 5th in the league in rush yards per game, which is normal for them. Kind of just a quick injury thing. The Jets are without Frank Gore, Quinnen Williams. Going to be without Michael P. Ryan. He tested positive. So it was the first positive test of the season for the New York Jets. So they almost went the entire season without a positive test. Yeah. So obviously you had that. But I think the Jets are going to keep this game close. I know it might sound crazy. I know it might sound insane. I'm not saying they're going to get the win, but I think they keep it close. Okay. I think it's going to be an incredibly low scoring game. I think it's going to be a whole lot of 3-and-outs and stoppages and that stuff. Here's the problem with the Jets. I might pick them to win here if it was like a team like the the Broncos that's struggling, or maybe not even the Broncos, because I think the Broncos the Broncos beat the Patriots, so even if it was no one of the Broncos, but let's say it was a team what team really stinks that's not going to make them, not the Jaguars, because if it was a team maybe the Lions, maybe I would sit here and say, okay, there's a chance. Something about predicting the Jets to beat the Patriots. This was an interesting stat. The Jets have not won a game at Gillette Stadium, which is the Patriots' home stadium, since 2008. That has been 12 years, people. The Jets have not won a game against the Patriots at Gillette Stadium since 2008. So, sitting here and telling me one of the worst Jets teams in franchise histories, I don't care if there's fans or not, going to beat the Patriots away. I hope that's the case. I hate the Patriots. I would love to see them lose to us. But I would also go ahead and say that there's a shot of, the Patriots just coming out and fully on dominating us, because that's what the Patriots usually do. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Patriots win 21-17. I think they win. Or 21-17. I think they win. And I think the Jets lose. Patriots win. 21-17. I think the Patriots cover. And I take the 21-17. Let's see. Or actually, no. I'll give it 24-21. 24-21. 21-17. 21-17. Or let me think. This is tough. 21-17. See, 21-17 would be like, this is what I've been brainstorming this the entire day. Like 21-17 would be like a 4-point game. 24-21 would be a little closer. I think it's 24-21. Jets lose. It's gonna be a close game though. Jets lose though. I'll give it 20. Because the Jets this season have not been able to produce many points, right? They have not been able to produce that many points. I mean, they're only about 15.3 points per game, and the Patriots only about 19.29. So I'll give them 21-17. Patriots win, and I take the over. I take 21-17. Let's see. Take the under on the over-under of 40, and I think the Patriots win. I think it's going to be close, though. Now for the Cowboys and Giants game. This is a pivotal game. Whoever wins this will be in the running for division winning. Cowboys come in this game 1-point favorites. Giants come in this game. The over/under is 44.5. This game's on 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Let's take a look here. Cowboys are 16th in points per game. Giants are 31st. Points per game allowed. Cowboys are 30th. Giants are 10th. Total yards per game. Cowboys are 12th. Giants are 31st. Total yards per game. Cowboys are 7th. Giants are 29th. Rush yards per game. Cowboys are 17th. Giants are 19th. And yards per game allowed. Cowboys are 26th. And the Giants are 13th. I'll tell you what. If this game featured Dak Prescott, I would give the Cowboys the win 100%. I did like what I saw last week out of Ezekiel Elliott. I really did. I thought he played well. I thought he looked good. He had 13 points in fantasy. I benched him. I'm still going to bench him. I get it. This Giants run defense has been pretty solid this year, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a pretty solid. I think it's going to be a pretty solid performance for the Cowboys. I think they win. I think they do pretty well here. I think they're going to get the win. I think the Cowboys do win. Here's my thing. I think they win 31-14. I think they win 31-14. I'm going to take the 31-14. Take the over on the over-under 44.5, and I think the Cowboys cover. It's going to be an incredibly close game. Not 31-14, actually. 31-21, I think the Cowboys win. It's going to be an incredibly close game. I'll give the Giants a little bit more points because the Cowboys defense stinks. So 31-21, I take the over on the over-under 44.5, and I think the Cowboys cover. I think it's going to be an incredibly close game. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Cowboys are going to win, and the reason I think it is because offense. Offensively, I think they're better. I get the Giants' defense has been playing pretty well, but, this Cowboys' offense has actually looked like a pretty solid offense. So I think between the Cowboys and the Giants, Cowboys will be the team that will be in the tiebreaker for the championship. So I think the Cowboys will be the team rooting for the Redskins to lose. That's personally what I think. So I think the Cowboys win. I just can't pick the Giants. I just don't. Even if they make the playoffs, I just can't pick them. So I give the Cowboys to win. So now we move on to just the regular, just give you who I picked to win the games. Okay, so here we go. So let's get into this. So it's I have the Jets losing, Cowboys winning, Bills winning, Buccaneers winning, Ravens winning, Browns winning, Vikings winning, Cardinals winning, Chargers winning, Colts winning, Bears winning, Packers winning, Raiders winning, Saints winning, Seahawks winning, Titans winning, and Washington winning. Holy moly, I picked a lot of away teams. So Cowboys, that's one. Cowboys, that's one. So Cowboys, that would be one. I picked the Ravens, that would be two. I picked the Cardinals, that's three. Chargers, that's four. Packers, that's five. Raiders, that's six. Saints, that's 7. Seahawks, that's 8. Titans, 9. So 10 of the 16 games, I have the road teams winning. So let's go through this one more time. So I have the Jets losing. So I have the Jets losing, Cowboys winning, Bills winning, Buccaneers winning, Ravens winning, Browns winning, Vikings winning, Cardinals winning, Chargers winning, Colts winning, Packers winning, Raiders winning, Saints winning, Seahawks winning, Titans winning, Washington winning. One more time. I have the Jets losing, Cowboys winning, Bills winning, Buccaneers winning, Ravens winning, Browns winning, Vikings winning, Cardinals winning, Chargers winning, Colts winning, Packers winning, Raiders winning, Saints winning, Seahawks winning, Titans winning, and the Washington winning. No Monday night game, by the way. So those are your picks. Those are my Week 17 picks right there. That's it. So, anyway, so, yeah, let's see. Okay, by the way, I'll give the Jets, I'll switch it. 24-21, Jets lose. That's what I'm going to think. I think it's going to be close because the Jets have scored over 20 points the past couple weeks. So 24-21, Jets lose. I think it's going to be close, though. I hope I'm wrong with that. I just can't picture the Jets going into Foxborough and winning. That's kind of the deal there. So 24-21, I have the Jets losing. That's my pick there. Okay, so now I move on to fantasy football. I'll head into my one league here. This is what I'm rocking with this week. I got Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, David Johnson, Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, Robert Tonyan, Myles Gaskin, Colts defense, and Daniel Carlson. My bench is Ezekiel Elliott, DJ Moore, Robert Woods, Rob Gronkowski, Ronald Jones, Austin Eckler, and Chris Godwin. This will be my lineup this will be the injury. This is kind of the injuries. So Chris Carson's questionable. Carson foot was limited at practice Thursday. John Boyle, the Seahawks official site reports. Not too concerning there. To be honest, the injury report's pretty clean. I've only got 2 questionables. And Allen Robinson as well. Robinson hamstring didn't practice Thursday. I would go on to say of how pivotal a game that is and how pivotal of a playmaker he is on that offense that he's going to play. Even if it's, limited snaps, I think he will play just because of that. Yeah. And I am starting David Johnson again. Now, depending on what happens with Chris Carson, I would probably then have to move Myles Gaskin to running back 2. And the flex. I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks just sit Carson and not risk it, just because they've already clinched. And then I might either put in Eckler or Elliott, one or the other, one of them. That's possible. But I love Myles Gaskin this week. Like I said, I love him this week. I really think he's going to be a really key contributor. Everyone's saying to start him this week. I really like the matchup he's got. So I got Myles Gaskin. He had a big week last week, so I'm going to put him in again. And I'm not going to sit David Johnson after a 25-point week. I'm just not. So Myles Gaskin's there. Currently, I'm winning 136-80. I have an 89% chance to win. So it's looking pretty good for third place. And as for my other league, I got Deshaun Watson, Antonio Gibson, David Johnson, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, George Kittle, A.J. Brown, Cowboys defense, and Darryl Carlson. My bench is Tyreek Hill, Kenyon Drake, Keenan Allen, James Robinson, Robert Tonyan, Cam Akers. My bench, 3 of those players are not going to play. Hill, Allen, and Robinson ain't going to play. Antonio Gibson is questionable. Gibson toe didn't practice Thursday. Nick Jalbaliva of the Washington Post report. So if he does not play, I would then put in probably Kenyon Drake against the Rams. And if he doesn't play, or he should be in. But Cam Akers, too, he's questionable as well. And he didn't practice either. So in this league, I'm really hurt. And my bench, I've got questionables as well. Tyreek Hill, questionable. Hill hamstring, didn't practice in Thursday's practice. Hobie Tiopa, Kansas City Star reports. Even if he wasn't injured, he would still not play. Keenan Allen's out. Allen, who had been dealing with a hamstring issue, has been placed on the COVID-19 list by the Chargers. Field Yates of ESPN.com reports. James Robinson's also out. Head coach Doug Marrone said Wednesday Robinson ankle won't be available for Jaguars Week 17 game against the Colts. Michael DeRico of ESPN.com reports. And then Cam Akers as well is questionable. Coach Sean McVay said Akers' ankle didn't practice Thursday, but the Rams haven't ruled him out for Sunday's game against the Cardinals after he fit in a workout. Jordan Rodriguez of the Athletic report. So, since Tyreek Hill wasn't playing, I put in Chris Godwin. I like the matchup against Atlanta. Bad defense, just like the matchup there. And I really like it too. I feel like Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, one of them is going to have a good game. So to have both of them in the lineup, I think is pretty good. Cowboys defense, Giants offense is really struggling. And Cowboys defense actually picked it up the past couple weeks. So I put them in. And George Kittle too. He had a good week last week. Might as well put him in. And at the current moment here, I am winning 158-82, and I have a 97% chance to win. So that's it. Now I move on to fantasy basketball. Today I got Trae Young, Bradley Beal, Jeremy Grant, Yusuf Nurkic, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Jonas Valanciunas playing. Some questionables or day-to-days. Trae Young is probable for Friday's game against the Nets due to right calf soreness. Sarah K. Spencer of the Athletic Journal-Constitution reports. Siakam didn't play yesterday. He's day-to-day. Siakam won't dress for Thursday game against the Knicks. He had a non-injury related. They disciplined him for some reason. I'm not too sure. I'm still trying to look into that. Jimmy Butler is also day-to-day. Butler ankle is probable for Friday's game against the Mavericks. Anthony Chiang of the Miami Herald reports. So it's looking pretty good. Currently, I am winning 841 to 793. So that's currently how it's going there. Really like I said, really like that. I feel confident tonight. I got a lot of players going. So feeling confident there. Feeling pretty confident that these I'm gonna probably pick up my first win. That's obviously the goal. So, yeah. Getting Butler back is huge for my lineup. Getting him back is very huge. So, obviously, it's going to be a big thing. So, now I move on to the college basketball, college football, NBA, and all that good stuff. Let's start off. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to do college basketball first. So, college basketball, there's no games on today. Yesterday, Oregon won, Michigan won, and Wisconsin won. There's no AP Top 25 games today, but there's some games tomorrow. Creighton, Providence, I give Creighton to win. Missouri, Arkansas, I give Missouri to win. Kansas, Texas, there's some big games. Kansas, Texas, I give Kansas to win. Baylor, Iowa State, give Baylor to win. Rutgers, Iowa, I give Rutgers to win. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, I give Texas Tech to win. Virginia Tech, Virginia, I give Virginia to win. West Virginia, Oklahoma, I give West Virginia to win. Tennessee, Alabama, I give Tennessee to win. Illinois, Purdue, give Illinois to win. Duke, Florida State, I give Duke the win. Michigan State, Nebraska, give Michigan State the win. Gonzaga, San Francisco, give Gonzaga the win. And Oregon, Stanford, give Oregon the win. So now we move on to Kentucky game. Kentucky comes into the game 1-6. Mississippi State comes in 6-3. This game's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SEC Network. Like I've been saying, Kentucky, they've got to play better. They've got to limit the mistakes. They've been making a lot of mistakes of late, and it just hasn't been very clean. It hasn't been a clean game for them. So we got to find a way to be better and not make mistakes. I think Mississippi State wins. I hope I'm wrong, though. So good Kentucky. We got to limit the mistakes. We're making too many mistakes. That's kind of really the whole thing. So yesterday, Suns won, Falcons won, Raptors won, Rockets won, 76ers won, Bulls won, and Pacers won. The Knicks lost yesterday, 100-83. I was expecting that. I know a lot of Knicks fans are very, pumped up about some of the ways this season has started, but the Knicks do this a lot. They start off the season strong, and then they start to fall down, right? Knicks are going through a rebuild. They'll be good in a couple of seasons because they're going to get a couple good players here, get a couple good draft picks. They'll be good soon, though. Today's game, we got the Celtics, Pistons, give Celtics to win. Grizzlies, Hornets, give Hornets to win. Heat, Mavericks, give Mavericks to win. Bulls, Bucks, give Bulls to win. Lakers, Spurs, give Lakers to win. Wizards, Timberwolves, give Timberwolves to win. Clippers, Jazz, give Clippers to win. Suns, Nuggets, give Nuggets to win. And Warriors, Trailblazers, give Trailblazers to win. And then the Nets, Hawks. Nets coming in this game, 6.5-point favorites. The over-under is 244.5. This game's on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Yes Network. Nets coming in this game 3-2. Hawks coming in this game 3-1. Nets coming off the win, which moved them to 3-2. I give the Nets the win here. The injury report's pretty clean there. There's rumors that Trae Young and them possibly won't play. I said that earlier on in the podcast. But obviously, I give the Nets the win here. I've loved the way they've played. The ball movements are really good. Whenever we get a win, we play a complete game. When we've been losing, and when we've been losing, we've been making late game mistakes. And that might sound like such an obvious answer. When you win, you play a good game. Well, yeah, but we've been playing a more complete game. We played all 4 quarters really well. The Hornets game, we did not start off good. We did not play well in the first quarter. That really probably lost us game. In the Grizzlies game, we did not play late. We made some mistakes late with shot selection. The Hawks game, we played dominant. Every quarter we played well, and we finished it off in the fourth quarter as well. So I give the Nets the win. Now I move on to college football. Exciting. I'm going to just give you tomorrow's games. Georgia, Cincinnati, give Georgia the win. Auburn, Northwestern, I give Northwestern the win. Okay. So, North Carolina State, Kentucky, give North Carolina State the win. Indiana, Mississippi, give Indiana the win. Oregon, Iowa State, I give Iowa State the win. And North Carolina, Texas A&M, I give Texas A&M the win. Okay, so now we move on to the big games, the big games. So we're gonna start off with the let's start off with this Sugar Bowl. That's the big game. That's on today, by the way, guys. It's on today. So we're going to start off with the Sugar Bowl. Clemson comes into this game 10-1. Ohio State comes into this game 6-2. Ohio State's third-ranked team in the nation. Clemson's the second-ranked team in the nation. Clemson 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is 65.5 for this game. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. It is today. It's not tomorrow. It is today's game. Clemson's been dominant this year. I give Clemson the win. I think they win 31. I think they win 35-24. 35-24. I'm trying to think here. 59. So I take the under on the over-under, 65.5. I think Clemson covers. Okay, what I've seen at Clemson this entire year has been a very, very, very good football team. Obviously, you got Trevor Lawrence, the upcoming first round pick. You got a great coach in Dabo Swinney. Here's my thing with Ohio State. What I saw last week out of Justin Fields was concerning for not only the draft and for this upcoming game. I know there's been a lot of talk about, they only played six games and stuff, and is that enough to really do that? Well, it is definitely a question. I think Ohio State's coming in this game definitely with a chip on their shoulder, considering, that they're struggling. But I give Clemson the win, okay? I have Clemson winning it all, to just put that out there. One thing that could stop Clemson from winning this game, assuming Alabama beats Notre Dame, one thing that could really hurt them is looking ahead. That could be one thing that really hurts them, is looking ahead. I give Clemson the win, though. I think they're the best team in college football. They have the best quarterback in college football in Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be the first overall pick, and I love this defense. This defense has stepped up in many ways. I love this offense. Travis Etienne, guys like that on this offense, playmakers, give Clemson the win. Now for the Rose Bowl, Notre Dame comes into the game, 4th-ranked team in the nation. They're 10-1. Alabama comes into this game, 1st-ranked team in the nation. They're 11-0. Alabama's 19.5-point favorites. The over-under is 65.5. This game's on today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. Like I said, this game, and then it's the Clemson game. So back-to-back there. Full day of college football ahead of us. I give Alabama the win. As much as I don't want to see them win, I give them the win. Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, and Najee Harris. I mean, they've got a bunch of scores. Devontae Smith probably, either him or Mac Jones could very well win the Heisman. I think Devontae Smith probably will, especially if he has another good performance today. What I saw last week out of Notre Dame against Clemson, or whatever, or was it last week, I think? No, 2 weeks ago. What I saw out of this Clemson team was just, or this Notre Dame team was a team that looked lost. And I've always said this. I know there's a lot of people out there who really think Ian Book is a really good quarterback. I think otherwise. I don't think he's that good. I think he's a little overrated. As much as I don't want to see Alabama win, I give them a win. I think they win big. 42 to, let's say 42 to 28. I give them the win. So that would put me at 42 plus 28. Put me at the over, right? Take the over on the over-under, 65.5, and I think 42-28. I don't think Alabama covers, though. I don't think they cover. But that's my pick. Alabama wins. So Clemson and Alabama are my winners for the game. Those are my picks. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a full day of college football ahead of us. So, so with all that being said, very long podcast here. So, with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Obviously, hopefully you enjoyed the game picks, the last game picks of the season. Football game picks, then we'll review it on Monday, obviously. So, yeah, enjoy it. Today, we got some big football games on today. Tune in. ESPN, Notre Dame, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, some of the biggest football colleges in the nation. Clemson, I think, will win it all. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to enjoy it as well as the Nets game, too, will be a lot of fun to watch as well. We'll be watching both of those. So it's going to be exciting. I'll be watching those games. By the way, obviously you all know I take breaks on the weekend, so I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.